Well, yeah.
What he's doing.
Okay.
See how to start this.
Okay. Ruth, I'm waiting for you.
So I said we're ready, sir.
Oh, you are?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Nigerians. Welcome to the PWD Hub. This is our election observation situation room. My name is Jake Pele, and I'm privileged and humbled to be the Chief Executive Officer of TAF Africa, formerly known as the Albino Foundation. Just to start this event, let me introduce first all our data analysts, our social media handle team, and our technology team, because of the technology that we're deploying to monitor this election. With that said, I'd like to introduce, beginning from far right, Mr. Tony Epele, who is a board member of TAF Africa. Tony Epele. Let me go on and introduce the chairman of the board of directors of TAF Africa, Professor Bean and the board. I'd like to also introduce, in the spirit of inclusivity and gender balance, we do have 4 female board members and 5 male board members. And we're privileged this morning to be joined by Zainab Usman, a young and intelligent board member. We're proud to have you. And then, of course, from the National Disability Commission, ladies and gentlemen, Barrister Ikem, who is a friend of the organization, but also a very worthy partner through the organization. So with that said, the election, the presidential election has come and gone. We're still in the frenzy of the outcome. And INEC, I must say, needs to up her game. But let me leave that to the pre-election statement, which will give us details. So, ladies and gentlemen, may I bring the chairman of the board of directors, or board of trustees of TAF Africa, formerly known as the Albino Foundation, Professor Bean Anibal, who will read the statement in parts, and then we will have Zaina to read the recommendation. Chairman, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. J. Chairman. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the press that are here represented. I want to recognize and appreciate the members of the board, all the technical teams. I'm here to present to you TAF's African pre-election report on the 2023 gubernatorial and state assembly election. Introduction. TAF Africa started its pre-election observation in February 2023 and released 3 reports on the participation of persons with disabilities, the Independent National Electoral Commission's preparedness in terms of the provision of assistive devices, accessibility to polling units, and security concerns in the 2023 presidential and national assembly elections. Our assessment of the conduct of the presidential elections vis-a-vis the enablers for the preparation of WWs left much to be desired. The March 18th gubernatorial and state assembly election presents another opportunity to assess the operational practicability of specific provisions of the Electoral Act as it affects the participation of persons with disabilities and the commitment of key election stakeholders towards ensuring that the right conditions and enablers are present and operational. Based on the commitments made and security agencies, TAF Africa expects that this election should not be defined by the barriers and challenges of violence, the lack of official, sufficient provision of assistive tools, and communication gap faced in the presidential election, both polling units and the elections regarding the transmission. The challenges in the presidential elections undermine public confidence in the electoral process and can reinforce the already existing voter apathy within the community of persons with disabilities, if not addressed. We expect the Independent National Electoral Commission, in line with its duty on the law, to deploy adequate assistive tools at the polling units with registered persons with disabilities in every state conducting the gubernatorial and state assembly elections to enable them to exercise their civic rights. Now, there are specific disability inclusion concerns that TAF has for the 2023 gubernatorial and state assembly elections, and these are number one, reports of lateness polling units by INEC officials. TAF Africa's observers consistently reported lateness to the polling units by INEC officials during the presidential and national assembly. This is gradually becoming a feature in these elections, and it is capable of disenfranchising persons with disabilities in the elections. Some clusters of persons with disabilities are not expected to experience a long wait under the sun due to the peculiarity of their disability. The early arrival of INEC officials at the polling unit will avail them the opportunity to quickly exercise their rights with the risk of impact on their health and well-being. State of TAF Africa expects that the Independent National Electoral Commission has taken steps to address the challenges encountered in the presidential elections, that the disenfranchisement of persons with disabilities to avoid a repeat during the gubernatorial and state elections. We also expect that the technical glitches that resulted in the malfunctioning of INEC result viewing portal have been addressed ahead of March 18th elections. TAF Africa appeals to INEC to leave communication lines open with the public and adequately communicate any challenges that might be encountered during the electoral process. Concerning deployment of tools to promote PWD's participation, the decision to deploy assistive tools will no doubt improve the participation of persons with disabilities in the elections. The Commission promised to deploy assistive tools in polling units with registered persons with disabilities according to ability type. We are worried about the poor implementation during the presidential and National Assembly elections. Many polling units with registered persons with disabilities did not have assistive tools deployed. TAF Africa hopes that these gaps and challenges highlighted in our report on the conduct of the February 25th election have been addressed to ensure that eligible PWDs voters can vote on my conduct of political parties. South Africa is concerned with the increasing clashes among political parties and their supporters, resulting in heightened tension in some states. These conflicts increase the threat of violence on election day. TAF Africa is worried about the disturbing reports of some polling units that are prone to violence. We appeal to political parties to speak to their supporters and allow for a peaceful election and avoid hitting the polity and making the polling units danger zones for persons with disabilities during the gubernatorial and state assembly elections. Concern number five, deployment of security operatives. TAF Africa observers deployed in the polling units with registered persons with disabilities also track activities from the concluded presidential and national assembly elections that affect the peaceful conduct of voluntary assembly elections. For instance, reports of physical violence during the past election were received from Ohia Market Square, Obi local government in Benue State, and Lubwe Primary School in FCT. This is because some registered voters were denied ballot papers, which brought about a clash and subsequent violence. This heightened tension affected the participation of persons with disability in those polling units. We call on the security agencies to perform their responsibilities to the electorate by being present at the polls and ensuring the safety of everyone with competence, professionalism, and neutrality. This will increase voter turnout on election day. Now, about TAF Africa Election Day observation methodology and deployment plan. TAF Africa will adopt a three-faceted technology approach, which includes the deployment of PW data, a user-friendly election observer app, and the development of an election monitoring dashboard. The data dashboard is a user-friendly platform that provides data on all registered voters with disabilities polling units nationwide. This aggregated by type of disabilities. The PW dashboard will also provide data on all PW's candidates who are contesting at different levels nationwide. The election monitoring dashboard is an administrative dashboard reporting capabilities, which display real-time data collected from the Election Hub app on election day. The Election Observer app is a cross-platform mobile application with data collection capabilities that will be used by election observers to report real-time information from the field on election day. The app also has an eyewitness feature that enables the public to report incidences of the violation of the person with disabilities, even beyond the electoral cycle. Just like in the 2023 presidential and national assembly elections, TAF Africa will establish a Persons with Disability Election Hub as a response to inadequate PW's e-focus platform on election observation. The PWD election hub will serve as a data depot for civil society organizations, CSOs, and the election management bodies to find useful and real data on PWDs. PWDs access to voting locations, participations, provision of assistive devices, security voting, among others. Though the governorship election will be held in 28 states, but the state assembly elections will be held in 36 states. South Africa is deploying 340 observers in the 28 states to conduct governorship elections March 18, 2023. These observers will observe the conduct of the elections as it affects the participation of persons with disabilities and report to the election hub using the Election Observer app developed by TAP Africa. The Election Observer app and tools will be used to provide real-time information for the hub on the participation of PWDs. The hub will be set up for subsequent off-cycle election during the period of project intervention. On the recommendations of TAPCA, I will now call board member Hajia Zainab Suleiman to please continue.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have recommendations. Based on the emerging issues, South Africa makes the following recommendation to stakeholders. The Independent National Electoral Commission should ensure proper coordination with security agencies to forestall incidences of violence and ensure the safety of voters and poll officials on election day. The 2022 Electoral Act stipulates that every person with a disability is entitled to priority voting. INEC should ensure that this right is duly respected by its polling officials and that people with disabilities are allowed at their respective polling units. INEC should also ensure proper adequate deployment of assistive tools for gubernatorial and state assembly, such as magnifying glasses, election day written instruction from 30E PWD, and Rally Ballot Guide. Recommendations for security agencies. Security agencies to respect the rights of media and observers, including the right to freedom of movement on election day for duly accredited observers and media practitioners. Security agencies should also work with polling officials to ensure the protection of persons with disabilities and that they are allowed to enjoy the priority voting as contained in the Electoral Act. Our recommendations for organizations of persons with disabilities. Organizations of persons with disabilities should engage in building the confidence of persons with disabilities ahead of the election and encourage voters to turn out and vote. Our recommendations for persons with disabilities. We urge every person with a disability in Nigeria to display patriotism during the gubernatorial state assembly election by coming out and casting your vote in an orderly manner. South Africa understands that the current situation in the country hasn't been exactly encouraging. Nevertheless, particularly with the conduct of the presidential and state assembly election, but staying at home for the fear of what will happen at the polling unit will deny you the opportunity to perform your civic right as a citizen by voting your choice of candidate. Please remember, the one possible vote not cast is a vote for the continued weakening of our electoral process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. I would ask colleagues from the media if you do have any question. This is the time to ask that question. And, we will give you more information. But let me use this opportunity to emphasize the need for citizens to go to iOS store and Google Play Store to download our app. We are deploying 324, 46 observers, but yet the app can increase that number. We can have as much as 1 million observers. If you download that app into our, and what is happening in this where we don't have is a citizen engagement observer tool that will give us the opportunity to know what is happening, whether it's a matter or around disability or other areas within the electoral environment. So with that said, if you do have a question, this is the time to ask, but we will have tomorrow election report. Some of you will have it of seeing live some of our observers from where they are observing. And then on Sunday, we will have the post-election report. Again, for emphasis, INEC has a responsibility to do what the Electoral Act says. Before, we will go cap in hand begging them for inclusivity. But now it is a law that they must include us in the process. So if you have a question, or maybe our statement has answered all your questions, that will be it. But we are open for questions. Okay, so Ruth, we can actually take your interview now, and that will be it for this press conference.
I really think that this is everything, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much. We want to thank our media partners. We want to thank AIT. We want to thank the national